Hi, my name is Roman and I'm a senior cloud architect at Thinkport. Since our prime expertise at Thinkport is to help enterprises with cloud development reinvent the main place for AWS announcements, is of course an important occasion for us. So, short overview, this year it was the 10th anniversary. 20,000 participants took place in Las Vegas in person. Unlike last year, this time it was possible to organize a real physical event. It was talked a lot about compute, this Graviton 3 story and all around it, many machine learning and IoT announcements, some new serverless features, unfortunately not that much about organizations and structuring your accounts. Funny fact, a week after the reInvent, the huge outage happened in region US East 1. Some services were not available for 8 hours, but as we know, it had nothing to do with the new features, but rather with old ones. So I'll start with serverless, since it's probably the most interesting feature for the most of cloud developers. So 4 existing services acquired serverless mode now: AMR, Redshift, MSK, and Kinesis. And if for big data processing, AMR and Redshift, it looks like real pay-as-you-go. For streaming services, it's not that obvious, so we'll take a more precise look at it later. So now to AMR, you don't need to provide instances anymore for your jobs. AMR looks now similar to Glue. You pay only for these compute units, CPU and amount of data. The difference with Glue now is that Glue is Spark-only engine, and in AMR you can choose other frameworks like Hive or Presto. Redshift in serverless mode looks similar to RDS, Aurora and Athena now. You don't need instantly run a cluster to be able to run analytic queries from time to time. You also pay per processing units. Managed Kafka service got this AKS serverless mode as well, but with streaming it's a bit tricky. You cannot just stop your instances because data is coming unpredictably. So how it has been designed, you again don't need to think about instances and your cluster. You just need to choose number of shards needed for your load in terms of Kafka, even though this number of shards can be scaled automatically in case of increased traffic. But at the same time, you have to pay hourly for the instances, since they're constantly running and ready to consume data, so keep it in mind. Kinesis, internal AWS implementation of a streaming engine, has a bit different paying model, but still it's per hour prices. Here you have so-called streams instead of shards in Kafka, and once your cluster is active, you start paying per stream per hour. Some S3 news: we got a new type of storage, Glacier Instant Retrieval. You might think, God, we have already so many storage types, why do they even need a new one? But this one is actually quite practical, so I was convinced for the first time to move my personal archive to Glacier with this mod. This mod looks similar to standard, where you have millisecond access and high throughput, so you don't need to wait hours to get access to your files like in our Glacier modes. But obviously the retrieval will cost you more, but if you need your data quarterly at most, then you can save up to 70% comparing to other standard modes. One very obvious feature, which nevertheless came just this year, is S3 backup as a part of AWS backup service. So now you have all the possibilities to manage your backups centrally for different kinds of storages like DynamoDB, RDS, DocumentDB, instances, snapshots, and so on, and now S3 as well. Yes, my favorite feature from this reInvent: AC transactions for Athena. So Athena is the Presto-based big data queries service, which is completely managed and nicely integrated with Glue catalog. Allowed previously just to read data from S3, and we couldn't even dream that you can write or edit data with Athena too. But now it's possible with help of Apache Iceberg, which is responsible for that under the hood. One very important feature regarding CDK, it was expecting earlier and was available already. So developers were complaining all the time that it's hard to manage Cdk dependencies since it consisted of different isolated libraries. Each of the libraries belongs to its service. And if versions of libraries just don't match, so you have problems, you have to manage it manually. Now CDK version 2 comes as monolith. It means that you don't need to manage the dependencies. AWS, as a producer of the library, guarantees that all the dependencies, versions, and so on matches inside of it. Of course, this monolith got heavier, but it's just your local development. As a target, you get CloudFormation, and it doesn't affect your application at the end. Also, the Construct Hub was announced, just a central place where people can publish their CDK contracts, use another existing contracts from other developers. AWS Amplify Studio got a lot new features. So things like designing models was existing already before. Now we got predefined designs for your front end. Also, now you can bind your fields from your model with front-end pieces. Also, Amplify Studio provides now a content management system that you can give to your customers or developers or users without any AWS Management Console access, which is really nice. So Graviton 3. Graviton 3 is the third generation of processors designed by AWS together with AMD. You can see delta in performance for different technologies. It got better, of course, in comparison with generation 2, faster and cheaper, especially good it works for machine learning. You can also find this type of instances with this G and that. AWS Private 5G also was expecting that AWS will come to this area. So in terms of IoT, we used to think that we should use Wi-Fi as a network connecting different devices, but it's actually not appropriate technology always. For example, when we have autonomous cars and distance between these cars is pretty large, then we probably should use technologies like LTE or 5G, and AWS just provides you this private opportunity to build this private 5G networks without certifications. So it provides you software, instructions, and also this management panel, so you can manage your own private 5G networks. AWS Cloud WAN, it's a next level of managing your VPCs. So since AWS introduced Transit Gateway, which allowed you to connect different VPCs together, so this Cloud WAN now is a place for really global networks and place where you can build, manage, and monitor them. Couple of small things. AWS DevOps Guru for RDS. So DevOps Guru is this service which analyzes your logs, metrics, and so on, and suggests you based on machine learning places where you can probably increase your performance or you can tune your things. So now it's also available for RDS, and you basically can configure your databases better with it. Some machine learning announcements. Amazon Sagemaker canvas came. So basically the main idea of it is that people who are not familiar with code at all, they basically can click, drag and drop and design machine learning models, train them, publish them, and collaborate with other users. So it's basically a codeless service. And also Amazon SageMaker Studio, which is a further development of JUpiter with additional features and integrations with existing AWS services. So that's it. Thanks for attention. Let us know what you think about these new features in the comments. And I wish you fun and nice development with AWS.